marketing of a nationally known trial lawyer as he built his firm to 27 lawyers and 90 people. He recently doubled annual revenue by adding broadly based direct to consumer marketing. He walks us through its elements and his approach. Let's dive in. Hi there, welcome back to the Grow with Cara show. Today we continue our interview series with successful attorney marketers. We're taking a close look at what's working, what's not working so well, the specific steps these attorneys took to get to where they are. And remember, these are simple steps that you too can follow to get on a similar path to growth. Okay, let's get right to it like we always do. Today, our special guest is attorney John Gomez. John is the founder and CEO of Gomez Trial Attorneys in San Diego. The firm has won more than $1 billion for their clients. We're super excited to have him here today. Welcome, John. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. So John, you've really had a storied career as a trial attorney. You're an expert on representing brain injury victims, kind of those complexities of successfully litigating those cases all the way through trial. But to start, tell us a little bit about your story. So you graduated from Yale Law School. What did your journey look like kind of leading up to launching the firm in 2005?
Yeah, so I went to Yale. I then was a judicial law clerk for 1 year. From there, I went up to Los Angeles and worked at Latham & Watkins, just big law, just working really hard for, 4 or 5 years. And then decided I wanted to try cases. So after that, I was a federal prosecutor for, again, 4 to 5 years. And, that was fun, but I wasn't really into, the war on drugs or putting people in prison. And so, but I was good in trial. So I said, okay, what can I do where I try cases that's more in line with my values? And so I came up with being a plaintiff's trial lawyer. And I worked for a guy for a while and then, launched my own firm in 2005.
Very cool. Very cool. How were you kind of bringing in cases early on in those early days? What were some of those greatest challenges growing early on?
Yeah, I remember when we started the firm, it was me, my paralegal, and we had a card table, and I brought 6 cases from my old firm, and the phone would just never ring. We were waiting for the phone to ring, and we would just get bored and go on walks and stuff. And really in those days, it wasn't really social media. It was way back when. And so the only way we really started getting cases was I won a big trial, very highly publicized trial, super early in the firm's history. And that kind of launched, some continuity in terms of new cases.
Yeah, and then obviously that word of mouth, those referrals sort of snowballed from that high profile case.
Yeah, I won that, then I won another trial. I won 3 or 4 really quick.
Wow.
And then that kind of launched it.
What type of case is the firm primarily handling now? And give us an idea of volume.
Yeah, so we have what we call a single event practice, which is our kind of lower value practice. We have 5 teams doing those kinds of cases. And so, they each handle, 110, 120 files a piece. I guess we have 6 teams actually. And then we have what we call trial teams. Those teams do higher value cases. We have, 1, 2, 3, 4 California trial teams, and then we have a very large Florida trial team. We do what we call complex litigation, so mass torts. We're kind of heavy into. We have a Pensacola presence for that, and we're out here. We're handling thousands of those cases all the time. And we have a new employment practice. We've only been into that for maybe, I would say we launched that probably 4 months ago.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that's brand new and super exciting as well.
I was going to ask about that because I noticed some employment law content on social media, so I figured that was a new area for the firm. How many attorneys and support staff?
Right now, we're at 27 lawyers. And the team as a whole, inclusive of the lawyers, is about 90.
Wow.
So we're 90 and 27, I guess.
Yeah. At what rate has the firm grown over the years, John?
I think it really has depended, like there have been periods of growth and then contraction, but really the aggressive growth has taken place since COVID.
Wow.
Like what happened was, pre-COVID, I had no business acumen or interest. I would just go from trial to trial and probably burn a lot of money and, miss out on a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
But when COVID hit, there were no trials to be had. And me and my wife like to travel. We couldn't travel. So I was like, okay, what can I do? So I started looking at the business of the firm, and really, the super aggressive growth has taken place since then.
That's fantastic. Take us through the details a little bit of that. So, during COVID, post pandemic, what really changed? What, I know you have some popular local commercials, but break down for us kind of the various marketing channels the firm is using.
Yeah, so I would say pre-COVID, we were just not good marketers. I mean, who is, but we weren't intentional about it, I don't believe. We mainly just tried cases, and we kind of limited our practice to kind of high-end personal injury, some mass tort work, and then, COVID hit, and, we made the decision, look, we're going to target consumers directly. And so that was the genesis of two things. One, the creation of this lower value, higher volume practice, and also direct consumer marketing. And so we started really with TV, in an age where a lot of people say maybe TV isn't as relevant. And then built on to that, I would say a more effective digital platform, an evolving social media presence and marketing strategy. And then, as time has gone on, we've really focused on marketing to our current clients and former clients. And, as collateral to that, to our team internally. So like we have 90 people that we think would be good ambassadors for us.
Yeah, exactly. John, is there a specific channel that's performing better, or is it this more kind of a holistic approach that's really kind of driving the growth?
In terms of the growth, I think I would attribute that to kind of this holistic, presence and effort, but in terms of like really high return, I really think, it's current and former clients. I feel like, you're not spending a lot of money, but you make some effort, and those people are going to be obviously tremendous ambassadors for you.
Exactly. I mean, that can really be like a gold mine, and so often it's completely ignored, right? So you're not doing much, the attorneys I speak with often aren't doing much to just simply stay top of mind, remind their past clients what they've done for them and how they might be able to help them or friends or family in the future, right? Tell me about the type of things that you're doing. How are you staying top of mind with those past clients?
Yeah, so we have basically a client ambassador or liaison that kind of quarterbacks the whole thing. And so, right upon signing, they get a bunch of stuff that goes out to them. We send them a book, and we send them some other stuff and some nice messaging, and, kind of put them in contact with that person. Then there's kind of touches through the course of the relationship. And then there's always a closeout, meeting at the end of their case where, we're going to affirmatively ask for reviews and ask for referrals and give them some more stuff, and then, obviously we have a captured database. So we're going to be hitting that database all the time with like targeted, emails and events and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. So events, kind of newsletter type content.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a client newsletter. Like, so we have an attorney newsletter, for referral sources and partners. We have a client newsletter, and then we have the general newsletter.
Nice. Yeah, that's got to be effective. Newsletters, they're a bit old school, but they're a proven way of either, staying top of mind with those past clients, or certainly cultivating that referral network. Absolutely. Tell us about, I did notice the firm has excellent Google reviews, by the way, tons of 5-star reviews. Yeah, so something's working. You kind of glazed over a little bit, digital, sort of a digital strategy. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that means? Are you working with an agency to drive traffic to the site? Or are you investing in PPC, paid advertising?
Yeah, so kind of a combination. I think we're actually in the middle of a redesign and relaunching of our website, which will take place like any day. So there's that we do, organic kind of Google stuff. We do local service ads, we find them pretty effective. So we'll always be like top of whatever search terms we want with Google local. Then we should be, for the most part, in the, I don't know what they call it, the 3-pack. We're going to be there. Then we're going to usually be like either 1 or 2 in the SEO. So I feel like, we've got that entire landscape kind of, mapped out.
Yeah.
We're not doing pay-per-click per se all the time, but, sometimes we will.
Yep. Do you have an in-house marketing team, or are you working with outside vendors?
A combination. We have a bunch of marketing people that do different things. So in-house we'll have what we call a director of attorney relations, who will be kind of in charge of inbound and outbound referrals. We have that director of client experience that I talked about earlier. We'll have social media director. We have a director of what we call grassroots, so community outreach, presence, that kind of thing. In terms of our digital, we work with an outside agency, but we work so closely with them, I almost feel like they're in this.
Yeah. What % of your revenue would you say you're spending on marketing and advertising overall?
I think probably 20 to 25% right now.
Yeah. So you're investing a good chunk for sure. And what percentage growth has the firm seen just since COVID, since implementing these additional marketing strategies?
Yeah, right now it's been like very aggressive, probably 100% year over year.
Wow.
I would expect that to slow, as time goes on. And, we've scaled pretty aggressively. And, there's obviously a little bit of lag between, the investment and the revenue.
Right.
Once we're at full capacity in terms of Florida, in terms of employment, in terms of, all these single event teams, we're trying to build to 100 million in revenue. I feel like probably within 2 years, we could probably get there.
That's excellent. Congratulations. That's huge. I'm curious, how do you personally spend your time as far as kind of breaking down? It sounds like you're now a little bit more focused on the business side of the firm. How is it broken down, kind of working on cases versus growing the firm?
Yeah, it's interesting you asked that because, over time it's varied. During COVID, I really couldn't, move the big cases as forward as aggressively as I wanted, but I just got a nice verdict, a couple of weeks ago, and I'm finding that basically my highest and best use is being a trial lawyer. Mm-hmm. And so, I do believe that I'll be spending more and more of my time actually in court, working on big cases and attempting to resolve big cases. In terms of, I have a really good team that I feel good about in terms of, operations, marketing. I'm always going to be the front guy. So like, if they got to put me on, I'll just show up and do whatever I got to do, but I would just prefer really to, if I could spend all my time being the kind of the cultural leader of the firm, being the front guy and trying big cases, that would make me happy.
Yeah, that sounds smart. That definitely sounds smart. I want to talk about kind of your organic social media presence. But before we get to that, I did notice that the firm is running several Facebook ads, sort of, on varying messages, right? I have them up on my screen now, but, nobody will work harder than Gomez Trial Attorneys. Injured, get Gomez, we're fighters, we fight for our clients. These kind of direct pitch, Facebook ads. Do you know how those are performing for the firm? Are you seeing positive ROI on those Facebook ads specifically?
Right now, No, those are pretty new actually. Like
Oh, okay.
historically for a period of time we were doing a lot of Facebook, paid, and then we did zero.
Mm.
And now with this new agency, they just started that again.
Okay.
And so like when I look at, our lead docket, I in terms of origin of cases, I'm not seeing,
Mm.
Facebook paid yet,
Yep. Yep.
but I think over time for sure. And who knows, like as we get new cases and they'll say, oh, they heard about me from a billboard, and I don't run billboards. And so
Yeah.
you just know, like,
Yeah.
it's just out there,
Right. Right.
who knows?
Right. What are you seeing most often on the kind of origin of the cases?
Most of the time it's Google organic.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, for the most
Yeah.
part.
Yeah. So let's talk about social media. The firm is very active now. You're at 833 Get Gomez on Instagram. You have nearly 14,000 followers. Seems like you have a really loyal, engaged group. Is social media a sizable lead driver for the firm?
Again, hard to say. I don't really see cases coming in directly through that channel very often, but again, I'll be out, especially, in kind of law or San Diego, I guess too, but really in legal circles, pretty much everyone will know me and be like, oh, I follow you on, Instagram or whatever. And so, the short answer is no, I'm not seeing like Ali Awad type numbers come in, but, obviously it's creating brand awareness and a connection.
Right. It sounds like it might actually even be more effective kind of in the referral partnership side than anything.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think like a lot of our social kind of hits, I would say lawyers or legal community and like kind of homebred kind of San Diegans. Those are
Yeah.
kind of like the
Yeah.
two targets and hits.
Yeah. I mean, social media is obviously a national platform. So are you referring your out of state, leads, or, are you getting referrals through social media?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, not so much that, we always have to be thinking about where we're going to send like our Nebraska case we got through social media, but we do get cases nationally, and depending upon the magnitude, we can handle them ourselves. We're in California and Florida, so everything in between is fair game for us. But we don't have such a volume of social media driven leads that we have to really think much about that.
Got it. Got it. How does the firm manage social media? It sounds like you probably have an internal team dedicated to content creation, editing, posting, all of that stuff. Is that right?
Yeah, we have an internal team. We have a full-time videographer, and then we have like kind of two people that monitor the calendar and really come up with some of the creative. The videographer is a pretty creative guy too, so he'll come up with stuff. And then externally we have an agency that will do the paid placements.
Mhm.
And a lot of times they'll pull like our TV ads and place those.
Yep.
So that's kind of the team. And in terms of content, I used to be like heavily involved in that. I spent a lot of mental energy and thought into that, but now I just kind of show up. If they want me to do something, I'll show up and do it.
Yeah. Well, I did notice that, I mean, you're obviously shooting videos, but so are other attorneys on staff. So, staff members are represented on the page. Why do you feel like that's a good approach as opposed to, you being kind of the singular voice and face of the firm on social?
Yeah, I think that's a delicate balance, right? I mean, I think I'm like without question the brand, and probably 90% of our cases, I'll say 80 come in, because of me.
Right.
But at the same time, I feel like, you want to, just for internal culture reasons, promote and show like the rest of the team, and we have a great team. And I think like, I don't know, I feel like outside looking in, if you see kind of a happy place where people like each other and everybody's valued, that's a positive message, I believe.
And that definitely comes across on your Instagram page. I will say that. And you know, I feel like, you know, prospects will, you know, probably resonate, different personality types will resonate with different prospects, right? You know, or
Yeah,
just different life experiences. So, you know, even from that perspective, I think that's a smart move.
right.
And you're posting a broad range of video topics. You know, you post trial updates, you post answers to common questions, you post verdict results, testimonials. Is there something that seems to be resonating most, performing best, or is it that mix that seems to work?
Yeah, I think like for the most part, it's like trial outcomes or you know, settlements or whatever. Those seem to get the most views and traction, maybe because you know, we have a heavily legal based audience.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, those seem to do the best. Like we'll try to be cute and funny and stuff. And, you know, sometimes that'll get a little bit of a bump, but I think for the most part, if we win a big trial, then that seems to carry the day.
Yeah, and those trial updates where you're kind of being rooted on by fellow attorneys, right?
Yeah, that's always good.
Yeah, yeah. So what about how much time would you say now that you're dedicating to social media specifically? It sounds like you really are have kind of pulled back from it and just kind of showing up for what you need to.
Yeah, I don't spend, you know, hardly any time. Like I've been a little, you know, I feel like maybe during COVID, like I feel like the legal community and lawyers kind of got a little too, I don't know, in love with photos of themselves, I'll say. Like it just
Yeah,
became to me overwhelming and a
right.
little at times nauseating.
Hmm.
And so like I've kind of pulled off of, you know, Instagram a lot. I'll do like some Facebook stuff, just, you know, sharing stuff from the main page. Instagram, I let somebody else run that pretty much entirely. I find myself actually engaging a ton more than I ever did before on LinkedIn. You know,
Oh,
I like the purity of that peer-to-peer platform. It just seems like less braggy
hmm.
and more informational, maybe. So
Interesting.
I don't know, for whatever reason, I know it's old school and archaic, but you know, maybe I'm just getting older. I don't
No, I think that's interesting. I mean, especially, of course, if you're looking to, you know, connect more peer to peer, colleague to colleague, what type of interaction are you experiencing on LinkedIn?
A fair amount actually, you know, because I'll be pretty detailed about like cases or a trial or you know, like maybe some management issues, like things that people, you know, my peers might care about at some level. So yeah, I feel like I have a fair amount of interaction and I'm really gaining a lot of I don't know if what you call them, their followers, friends, whatever they are,
Yep,
connections. Yeah,
yep.
I'm just really
There you
building
go.
that connection and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what would you say, John, to the solo, maybe small law firm owner who, you know, might not have a lot of time, but also may not have, you know, the resources and the internal team? How would you suggest kind of starting on social media for for that audience?
Yeah, I feel like, you know, social media can obviously, you know, it doesn't take all the time in the world. Um, if I mean, it's not a huge time investment. It's not a huge money investment. It's a pretty easy pathway, you know, to an audience. And I would say, you know, whatever you are, be authentic to yourself.
Mhm.
You know, so whatever your brand is, whatever distinguishes you, whatever you care about, you know, speak to that, you know, I would say, as opposed to trying to be anybody else. And I think like at the end of the day, like the more I come back to over time, I think the long-term play is always going to be based upon product, you know, service and character. If you really provide really great service, like it's, or I'm sorry, product, it's really easy to market that, right? I mean, you got something to sell, you know, and then if you put on top of that really great client service, like I always tell, one of our core values is we know that customer service matters. And so I always tell, my team and our all hands meetings, like whenever I do a closeout with a client, they're never like, "Oh, you got us 3 million. You're the best lawyer ever." It's always, "Oh, my team would always talk to me. My team would always answer my questions. They made me feel special." So like if you can do really great product, really great service, and then just treat people well, like over time, I think it's easy to kind of grow that brand and product and sell it. And, in terms of social media, hopefully you can communicate, just that high level of product, service, and ethics and be yourself.
I think that's really great advice. Being authentic, no one else can be you, right? How
Right.
about that kind of maybe old school face-to-face marketing? Are you attending conferences, public speaking? I know you do some of that, community involvement. Talk to us on those.
Yeah, I mean, I found I enjoy more direct consumer face-to-face interactions as opposed to, and not exclusively, but opposed to lawyer to lawyer. I feel like in the wake of COVID, again, my personal observation, I feel like lawyers have gone conference gorged.
Yeah.
Like they're in a conference like 3 times a month. It's just, to me, it's just too much, and I feel like, you can have such a greater reach if you took the, I'm not bagging on conferences, I still go, but if you took 3 days and worked on like social media content, like you would for sure reach a greater audience than the people you're going to meet during your 3 days at whatever. Or me speaking. I've spoken, it's great and everything. It's wonderful, but the return is to me not as high as content creation and actual results. Like for sure, for me, like the way I get cases, I win trials. If I spend the 3 days working on a trial, that for sure is going to be a higher return on investment. And I really enjoy direct consumer, being in front of those people, because of our brand creation, at least here in San Diego, I'm like the local legend, like at least in my own mind.
Yeah, yeah. I have also heard that about you. So I don't think it's just you. No, that is so true. And the firm is very involved in the community, correct? I mean, it sounds like
Yeah,
a big
very.
part of it. Yeah, big part of your culture. Yep. So before we wrap up, John, I always like to ask if an attorney watching only has time to adopt one, maybe two of your tips, what would you recommend?
I would recommend really, targeting, like I would say the easy, cheap stuff. And so for me, the easy, cheap stuff is developing a super loyal client and former client following, and develop a super loyal, in-house following, and market directly to them. So direct, like, and using probably newsletters, which is super cheap and easy, and you can do it through text, whatever you do, but just hitting those client, using your client list, and then, great internal marketing, like a lot of our cases come from our our team members as well.
How are you doing that? I'm interested in just a little bit how you're kind of cultivating that internal culture that then, your staff is becoming these advocates as well.
Yeah, so we do a lot of things that are, you know, designed to increase kind of like team culture and camaraderie. So like one thing I mentioned, we have an all hands meeting every month that goes about 90 minutes, just really transparent updates on the firm and reinforcement of core values, and really, getting the team to fall in love with the firm even more. We have a number of sort of employee recognition systems in place. Like we use a platform called Bonusly, where you can reward other team members. They get loyalty bonuses. We go on retreats every year, like just really attempting to treat them exceptionally well and really cause them to value, the firm and what we do. So like, we believe that our team believes that we for sure are the superior choice for any client within our practice areas. And so like them knowing that, they want to get out and push it.
I mean, that's so powerful, right? Building that internal team of advocates. And I love the way that it's just so clearly ingrained in your culture. And I can see how that's serving you very well. And also using your client list. I mean, newsletters, loyal client following, so much of that can be the lowest hanging fruit for so many of the attorneys that I talk to. Yeah.
If they don't have the cash, just hit them. Like just hit your clients, hit your former clients.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Awesome stuff, John. I really, really appreciate you sharing your experience. It was a lot of fun learning from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Lots of good stuff from John today, right? Here are the key takeaways I see. Winning certainly helps, but service is what clients remember. John and his team have a stellar record of big and impressive wins, but clients care about and talk about how they were treated, right? He attributes much of his firm's success to delivering a great product and providing exceptional customer service. Number 2, your list can provide your highest marketing ROI. Too many lawyers ignore their past clients. A surprisingly high percentage don't even keep their past client list fresh, right? This is a wasted opportunity. Client referrals can be a sizable and affordable lead source. Number 3, team members can also generate low-cost clients. This is an additional benefit of John and his team's winning track record. When your team believes in your capabilities, they will certainly trumpet your successes and recommend you. Number 4, organic Google rankings deliver most of John's new clients. So a strong reputation plus page 1 positioning results in pretty powerful marketing. Being top of page on Google is certainly helpful, but you're still competing with the other names up there. But once you're a recognized name, that top positioning really becomes supercharged. John's high profile and reputation for winning boosts every type of marketing he does. I hope you found John's interview educational and inspirational. Hey, next week's interview, it really reveals 2 new approaches to practicing and to social media that are some of the most valuable I've heard in my 40+ interviews. I look forward to seeing you all there. Keep marketing. Take care. Bye-bye.